Do you have students who struggle to turn their assignments in on time and stay on track in class, no matter how much you give them checklists and planners? If so, it may be due to an executive functioning issue. And many times, schools think they have the right supports in place, but they're missing a couple key elements. I want to show you why that's the case. So, checklists, organizing tools, planners, timers, things like that are often used in classrooms, so we at least are on the right track with thinking we've got to give kids some tools to help them to stay organized. But the checklist in itself, just like the behavior chart, is not going to teach executive functioning skills. It's a tool, it's not a strategy, it's external, and there are a lot of internal things that need to happen in order for you to use that list effectively. So let's walk through some of them. So what are the things that we have to do in order to use a list effectively? Well, first, we have to go through that first process that I just described. We have to know when to pull it out. So that's the first step. Then, if we've identified that a list would be beneficial for us, which oftentimes kids don't even get to that part, they don't even pull the right tool out of the toolbox. Well, the first thing that we have to do if we do pull it out and realize that it's relevant is that we have to envision the end goal. We have to think about where we're going and how that list is going to get us there. We have to visualize the steps to take, the materials needed, things like that. We have to estimate how long it will take because that might impact what goes on that list. We have to think about potential obstacles or contingencies that might help us to add some steps to the list or materials that we might need. We have to generate different options in case things go wrong. Using those fluency skills, we have to encode the steps or the materials into language. This is a big one. Once we've gone through those internal processes, we have to put them into language to know what to physically write down on the list. Then we have to actually write it down, which if kids have spelling issues, that might be a challenge. Once we've written it down, we have to initiate the first step, which means that we have to pull those internal motivation skills in. We have to continually evaluate our progress towards the end goal and notice the time as we're using that list. Are we on track? Do we need to shift and redirect? Sometimes when you use a list and you're going through it, you realize that you forgot something and you need to add it. You have to continually remind yourself to go back to the list. Not only do you need to pull it out, but you need to remember to go back to it when you're in the middle of whatever it is you're doing. Then you have to also utilize that episodic memory and apply whatever you've learned to future situations. So once you go through the list, you might learn that, whoops, I forgot something that I need to add next time that I do this. And then you also have to use those episodic memory skills when you're generating the list in the first place, all the while engaging in visualization, self-talk, and encoding throughout the process. But the way that lists are often used in the classroom is that the list is written on the board and the child writes it down. That is one part of this entire process. So you can see how we've jumped past all the internal skills that need to happen, and then we're giving no support throughout. So this is why when kids are given a list that's been written for them, or when they're having to just copy things down into their assignment books, those lists or those planners often aren't effective because the adult is doing the visualization, self-talk, and encoding before, during, and after the list is made, and is essentially doing the executive functioning for the kid. We are essentially doing that self-talk for them. And then kids learn that they don't have to use that part of their brain and take that pause and actually think and problem solve in order to figure out what to do next. Organizing tools like timers, lists, and planners are what we use when we are already engaging our executive functioning skills. They do not teach executive functioning skills. So while they can be one small piece of what we're doing and what we're using, they are not the entire process. And this is often where people get stuck. To get access to this complete training, to learn how you can support your students' executive functioning skills, just click Learn More or go to drkarendudek-brannan.com/EF Leadership.